Okay, so throughout this presentation, you're going to hear from myself and my colleague Leslie, and we're going to give you a lot of details that are going to be recorded, so you can watch this video after the fact as well. We would like to start, though, by acknowledging that the University of Calgary is located in the heart of the southern Alberta, both acknowledging and paying tribute to the traditional territories of the people of the Treaty 7, which include the Blackfoot Confederacy, comprising of the Siksika, the Pekainai, and the Kainai First Nations, the Tsuut'ina First Nations, and the Stoney Nakoda, including the Chiniki, Bearspaw, and Goodstoney First Nations. The city of Calgary is also home to the Métis Nation of Alberta Region 3. So for those of you that have been here for a while, this is going to be rinse and repeat. But for those of you that are just joining us, Slido.com is what we are using for live in the moment chat. We will get all of the FAQs after the presentation, and we will post them on our website so that you can see what other people have asked as well. Should you see your question or have a similar question to one that has already been asked, please do like it or vote for it. That way we can answer efficiently one or a couple times instead of a million times. But please scan the QR code or go to slido.com and use this code here, 2361173. We will try to hold about 15 minutes at the end of the presentation for general questions. We don't have the ability to answer specific questions as part of this session, but general questions are 100% available. And that will be something that we can either answer right from the Slido, or we can take questions right from you if you wanted to raise your hand after the presentation. Okay, so by the end of the session, we would ideally like you to be able to understand the important terminology relating to registration, identify course restrictions and requirements using the registration tools such as Course Search and Schedule Builder. You should be able to edit your schedule or adjust your schedule by adding, dropping, and swapping courses, and then locating different resources for course registration. So we're going to start off with registration terminology. This can be found if you go to Google and type in registration U of C. That'll bring you to the first image on the left, which is our registration webpage. By clicking on the first year students, you will then see the second image, which highlighted in yellow, you can see are going to be related links where you can find registration terminology, how to register web pages, how-to guides, and then connecting with your advisors as well, which is all something that we're going to talk about towards the end. We're going to talk about the primary terminologies that are important for you to know and be aware of, but knowing that all of the other terminologies that I'm going to not touch on during this presentation are available to you directly from our website. So first and foremost, all courses that we have at the institution are a lecture-based, which is where you're going to find majority of the instructional components. This is where you do a lot of your work, your learning, and then you're typically also submitting your assignments and type of coursework through here. Then we have the accompaniments, lab and tutorials. So labs are something that you would be doing to supplement the lecture learning. These are where you're going to be potentially, if you're in biology, doing dissections, or if you're in nursing, you're potentially doing practical learning skills. Then we have our tutorials, which is another supplement to the lecture component, where you will be able to ask your instructor questions. Your instructor may host office hours, but you'll also be able to discuss reading materials and other relevant and additional resources. A big one that we encourage everybody to be aware of is wait lists. So we don't have the ability necessarily to accommodate every single person in every single class. And this is where a wait list will be beneficial. Almost all of our courses at the university do have the waitlisting option, which will not guarantee necessarily you to be registered successfully into the course. However, if you're on a waitlist, that does bode a little bit better than not being on a waitlist at all. If you are on a waitlist, fantastic, great. You will see in live time what your position on that waitlist is. If you're not able to put yourself onto the waitlist, that is okay. Just check back at a regular basis to see if a spot does become available. Multi-term courses are not something that you really need to worry about in your first, second, even third year for majority of the programs. That's a fourth and kind of fifth year type situation, reserved for your capstone courses. So I'm not going to touch much on those. However, we do have something called synchronous courses. Synchronous courses are going to be components that are scheduled at specific days and times. This is what typically your lectures are going to be, and then typically your labs as well. Asynchronous are going to be something that is not necessarily scheduled at a specific time. So if you're registered in a web-based course, or even potentially tutorials or some labs where your instructor doesn't necessarily need you in class or attending that class because they may post or ask you to submit your documents online on your own time by a given deadline. Then we have hybrid, which is a blend of both of those synchronous and asynchronous options. The big one that everybody needs to be aware of is course restrictions. So right now, at the beginning of our enrollment period, we do have a lot of courses reserved for students in a particular student group. This means that if you are a student in the biology major, for example, you will have courses reserved with certain seats for you and your fellow biology students, so that we don't have people that are, for example, in film that want to take a biology course, taking up that seat for you to not have that opportunity to complete that first year requirement. However, reserve restrictions do come down, or course restrictions do come down and end. When you look at the course information, you will be able to see if there is a course restriction by a purple star. You will also be able to see the begin date and the end date for that. And if you find that you are not listed as part of the program or student group that it's looking for with the reserve, you should be able to register after that date has come and gone. So the next business day. Prerequisites are courses, though, that you must have completed or successfully registered in prior to taking said next course. One that a lot of us are going to find is going to be chemistry, for example. Chemistry 203 that is typically completed in the winter term is requirement for chemistry 201 to be completed first, typically in the fall term. An anti-requisite, on the other hand, means that you cannot have taken one of the listed courses prior to, typically because it is too similar to the class that you're currently wanting to take. And then we have co-requisites, which are typically courses that need to be taken at the same time. We find some faculties have co-requisites like nursing or engineering, but a lot of our general faculties like science and arts typically don't have a lot of co-requisites, but there definitely could be some. And that is something you can have a chat with your faculty advising team later. Every student has the opportunity to add and to drop courses from their schedule. To add a course is exactly as it sounds. You're adding things to your schedule. To drop a course, again, self-explanatory. You're dropping courses from your schedule. There is a specific day and time that you have to be able to add courses and then drop courses before you would have to then withdraw. For the fall 2023 term, that is going to be listed in our academic calendar. The drop date is September 14th and the add date is September 15th. If after the 14th of September you wish to not be in a course anymore, you will end up withdrawing from that course and receiving a W grade. W grades will not affect your GPA, but some faculties do have a limit of how many withdrawn courses you could take as part of your degree. The University of Calgary is unique in the fact that we have the swap and the edit function as well. So when you add a course, you could potentially swap or trade a course. For example, if you're registered in Chemistry 201 and you wanted to take a Biology 241, instead of dropping yourself from Chemistry 201, trying to add the bio course and realizing that it might be full, and then going back to try and put yourself back into chemistry, but now realizing that might be full, you're going to have to wait to see if a spot becomes available for you to have that opportunity again. Whereas a swap function will keep you registered in, for example, that chemistry course if it cannot successfully add you into the example bio course. So you don't lose your registered spot. This is also something that you would use if you need to go from one lecture to a different lecture of the exact same course. So if lecture 1 no longer works for your schedule, but that's what you're registered in, but lecture 2 does work, you can go ahead and swap the lectures. Editing is a little bit different, where before we talked about the subcomponents, so the labs and tutorials. If you needed to edit a lab or tutorial from lab 1 to lab 7, for example, you can just edit that, provided there's space available. So now we're going to move on to the when can I register. So every student, when they pay their deposit and accept their offer, they will have something what is called an enrollment start time that populates for them. This is available on the Home tab, as you can see in this screenshot here. The enrollment start time is simply just the day and time that you can begin your registration for that term. You have until the posted deadline in the academic calendar, which is a link that you'll receive after the presentation, that you can finalize your schedule by. This enrollment start time is not the only date and time that you can register. It is just simply the beginning of it. As a first-year student, you'll have somewhere between the 16th of May and the 27th of May. But as you get into your second, third, and fourth years, you will be eligible to register earlier and earlier the more courses you complete towards your degree. Registration. So we have two different registration tools that you can utilize as part of your student experience. The first that we'll go over and touch on is Student Center, the course search button. That is what I'm going to go over with you here for the next couple of minutes. And then my wonderful colleague, Leslie, will talk to you about the schedule builder. We will have an opportunity to view a live demonstration of how to use the schedule builder function right up to the point where we can actually enroll into the course. But we'll get to that in a moment. So course search and schedule builder, I'm just going to back up a second. If we look at the enrollment start time, they're directly underneath your enrollment start time. Two red buttons. One says course search, one says schedule builder. Course search operates directly through the student center. It is best for actioning a single class enrollment and ideal for adding and dropping or swapping classes. It allows you to filter your search just like Schedule Builder does now. And course search requires 3 steps: using the class search function, adding things to your shopping cart. And then once things are in your shopping cart, you would finish your enrolling and register into your courses. Just because something is in your shopping cart does not necessarily you are having a reserved seat. That is just simply you are intending to register. If a spot is available when you hit the enrollment action, it should be able to register you without issue. The schedule builder has its own portal. So it's a third-party application that uses different servers, but it does talk to the University of Calgary system. So this is where the difference is because Schedule Builder allows you to view multiple different classes on a digital calendar for a given week. So you can see with a plug and play type option what your given week will look like with your lectures, labs, and tutorials for many different courses. It is recommended that students only use this tool, however, to initially build your schedule. Should you need to do any adding, dropping, swapping, or editing, this should be done directly through the Student Center. Underneath of your registered courses, you'll see there's 4 buttons: add, drop, edit, and swap. So without further ado, we're going to go right into the course search. We do have, as part of our resources after the fact, a great video that you can watch from our website. So Registration 101. We do go through both of these functions in detail, but we'll go over them here as well. So course search located under your enrollment start time on your home page. It's going to pull up this search tool. Now, where we're going to see a lot more information than what you're going to see initially is this additional search criteria. Typically, you're going to first see these 5 sections here: the institution, the term, the subject, the course number, and the course career. When you're looking for a course, you really only need to touch and filter the term, the subject, and you can just leave the drop-down menu for course number to contains. As long as you're putting in that course number here in the right-hand side box, you can then hit the search function, or you can go a little bit further. If you wanted to find a course that does not have any prerequisites, for example, some option courses, at the course attributes down here, you can select and filter courses offered that do not have any prerequisite requirements. Additionally, you can also filter for courses that are based on fee rate groups, which is the amount each course costs. Once you have determined your filter criteria, you can hit the search button. That will pull up a page that looks similar to this. So this example will look at Math 211, which is Linear Methods 1. We have the red hyperlink over here for the Lecture 1 and Lecture 2, and below that Lab 3. The next screen that we're going to see is if I was to click on this red hyperlink. We can, however, see the purple star, which indicates there's a restriction, and the green circle, which indicates it is open. If I know that I want to select Lecture 1, I would literally select the button. Unfortunately, Lecture 1 doesn't allow me to do that, so I would select Lecture 2 in this case, which tells me the day and time of that course. So again, the next screen will show if I was to click on the hyperlink here, which is all of the course detail and information. So this tells us that this is a regular academic course, meaning that it follows the standard academic calendar for dates. This tells us that it is a web-based course. So this is a course that is actually offered online. We can see that this course does have prerequisites to contain Math 30-1 or Mathematics 2 if you've taken it with the University of Calgary's continuing education. We can also see the fee rate group, which is a whole different presentation, but it is available on our website as well under University 101s that we will be updating soon. But fee rate group is what it's going to cost per course. And there's a standard for domestic letter group A and international letter group A. There's a whole bunch of others. You can review that. Where we see the reserve or the restriction requirements is just down here in the class restriction. So we see that this particular class has a restriction that starts on the 1st of March and it ends on the 25th of July. And it's looking for students who require Math 211 to be completed in the fall semester for program progression. So if you're, for example, in a Bachelor of Arts, Fine Arts, Dance, you may not need Math 211, therefore you might have to wait until after the 25th of July to register for this course if you really, really want to take it. We can also see how many seats are available in the course and how many spots are on the wait list and how many seats are taken of that wait list. If you were to select the red button, that's going to then bring you to this page here, where you are going to then be able to choose which lab works for you. Lab 1, Lab 2, 3, and 4. We see the yellow triangle indicates that labs 1 and 2 have a wait list, meaning if you cannot register successfully for all components of the course, you will have to waitlist for the course, regardless if one or other components have space available. So if I wanted to register for this course immediately, I could choose the open lecture, which is lecture 2, and I could choose an open lab, which is labs 3 or 4, which then will bring me to the next screen. We can see that I chose, in this situation, lecture 1 or lecture 2, whatever it was, and lab 3, because they're both open. I'm going to click this box up here that says waitlist okay if class is full, because this is now going to automatically waitlist me if it cannot put me into the course. We do see similar information to what we found before, so the prerequisites and the tuition fee rate group. And then we're going to hit the next button if we're satisfied with what we have selected. By hitting the next button, you'll see a screen that looks like this. This is similar to your shopping cart. So this class is my simple intention to register. I can remove the course if I wish. I can search for more courses if I wish, or I can proceed straight to steps 2 and 3 and continue with my enrollment in the course. In order to select step number 2 and 3 by clicking that button, you will be brought to this page that verifies you are trying to register in 211 lecture and 211 lab, both open. I would hit the finish enrolling. Now, I would typically see a couple messages. One, which is what everybody would hope to see, is this green check mark. And that indicates that the class has successfully been added to your schedule. You could, however, see, for these examples, Bio 305 and Social Work 201, I attempted to enroll previous, and I got 2 different error messages. So for Bio, I received that I do not meet the prerequisite, the co-requisite, anti-requisite, or the reserve requirement for the course. So this is then asking you to go back and make sure that you do meet one of the requirements and checking the requirements of that course. You can also view the definitions right from this web link. Should you receive a different message that says not enrolled, there's a time scheduling conflict for a class. This means that there's a time conflict indicating one or more components of the lecture, lab, tutorial, or a seminar of 2 different courses, one that you're registered in currently and one that you intend to register in, have an overlap of a time. You would then need to adjust your registration to accommodate your scheduling so that you don't have any time overlaps. Should you have concerns or questions, you're welcome to reach out to your faculty advising office, which you'll see that soon. Should you waitlist or be put onto a waitlist for a course, you will see that you can identify what position you are on that waitlist in real time. The moment someone drops a course, if that waitlist can put someone else in, you will go from number 7 to number 6. There is no delay in that. It will happen in live time. But you would also receive confirmation that you've been placed on the waitlist in position number, this example, 7. Should you wish to edit, drop, or swap your courses, do your best to not do this in Schedule Builder. Use your Student Center for this, and this is directly underneath your Course Search and Schedule Builder buttons, where you can then see all of the courses you are successfully enrolled in and the ability to edit, drop, and swap. I'm going to pass it on over now to my colleague, Leslie, who's going to talk to us about Schedule Builder. Leslie?
Yes, thanks. Everyone can hear me? Yes?
I can hear you.
Perfect. Hi, I'm Leslie. Happy to be here today. And as Ben mentioned, I will, just cover a little bit about Schedule Builder, and then we'll move to a live demonstration where we can actually see, how it works. But Schedule Builder has been mentioned. There's a button right under your enrollment start time, right beside the course search button, that will launch you into Schedule Builder. And Ben, maybe we should move. Here we go. Okay. Are we going to move to the live demonstration now? Yeah. Oh, sorry, I didn't hear you. We'll move to the live demonstration. So just give us a moment.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, in order to do that, I'm just going to need to get into what I need. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen for just a moment.
Perfect.
And stop share. And there's our lovely colleague, Leslie.
Yes. Yeah. So as Ben mentioned, Schedule Builder is going to be a really great way for you to build your initial schedule. As you'll see, it's a really great visual way to sort of see your schedule for the week with all your courses in it, and just have a good view of what your week will look like. And it also has some really great functions where you can block out periods of time where you may not be able to attend a class. If you've got work every Wednesday at 3 p.m., you can block that off so that it won't suggest a schedule that has a class during that time. And so we'll jump to it, and we'll give you a view of it.
All right, here we go.
Great.
All right, so you can see my screen here, Leslie?
Yeah, looks good.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so if we go into Schedule Builder, so as I mentioned, there's a red button. There's also a link at the bottom of your Student Center for Schedule Builder you can access as well. We are working in a test environment with a test student, so there are a little bit of differences which you may notice, but overall this is what you'll experience when you log in to your Student Center. So hit the continue button when you go into Schedule Builder, and then pick the term that you want to start building a schedule for. So in this case we picked fall. It's a good place to start. And then in the select course box, you just need to start typing the courses that you want to add to your schedule. And so let's select Bio 241. Let's do Econ 201. So we'll add a few courses here so you can see. Yeah. And then maybe an English course. English 203 is great. Yeah. So now we've sort of added 3 different courses to our schedule. There's lots of ways that you can learn about the courses. So there's a drop down, there that you can. So this initially is going to select all the different lectures and tutorials that you could possibly have with this course, but you do have the option to only pick a few if you want, and look at what the schedule for those might be like.
It's important to note here, you don't need to select all of 662 schedules.
Yes.
Just need to find one that works with
Yeah, it's really cool. So what it's done here with just these 3 classes is it's given us 662 schedules that you could potentially choose from. And like Ben mentioned, you can scroll through them and pick the one that looks best for you. I will, and again, you can try all different lectures or select the ones that you do want. Yeah, just by unclicking. Yeah, perfect. Great. And then that takes it down a number. So in the middle column there, this is an important piece to read, because this is where within Schedule Builder, you'll see the course attributes and course restrictions. So this is going to be really important for you to read to make sure that you are one of the groups of students who do have access to that course. Because it's no fun building your schedule and then realizing that you can't actually enroll in the course until later on in the summer. So just be aware of that. And then Yeah, so towards the, thanks, Ben, highlighting all of that. And then towards the top of Schedule Builder, there's a sort by, and so I like this sort because I always often click the most days off. So that's going to give you the schedules where you have the most days off in the week, or if you're a morning person, you can select, which are the schedules that have most classes in the morning. That's when I'm the freshest and I like to take those courses. So that's a really handy feature. And you can also, within Schedule Builder, like I said, you can block off periods of time. You just have to drag your mouse through, just like that, and then it's going to stop select it. It won't suggest schedules that have those time periods. So once you're sort of set with what a schedule that looks good, if you scroll to the bottom, you can click Get This Schedule. And what this will do is take you to a page where it's going to say, okay, what's the action you want to do? So if it's your enrollment start time, you can select enroll. If you're at this point, your enrollment start time is not yet, you can add it to your shopping cart. So those are your two options. But again, if your enrollment start time is already happening, then enroll is the one that you would want to select. So we can add these to the cart, and we can and then the middle column will come up with a wait list if class is full. So you can select or deselect. We always recommend just leave it on select so that it'll automatically add you to the wait list. Then you click Do Actions, and there's just a warning saying, are you sure you want to do this? And you can click OK, and what will happen is it'll tell you whether or not it's been added to your cart. So in this case, it was added to our enrollment course cart, but we're not yet enrolled. So it's just in our shopping cart at this point. So now we can choose, if we go back, so at the bottom there's a red button, Return to Select Courses. Now we can click the Validate Shopping Cart. If we can scroll down. Perfect. And this is a really important step, because this will bring up error messages or potential issues that you may have before you actually enroll. So this is a really important step. So you can see, okay, the econ and the English course were okay for me to add, but there's a problem here with this bio. I don't meet the prerequisites. So maybe I better go look at that and see what the prerequisites are for that course and ensure that I meet them. So that's a really good step to do initially, to just make sure that on your registration date that you'll be able to actually enroll in the courses. So once we've validated our shopping cart and it's in our enrollment start time, we should be able to enroll in the courses. We can click Get This Schedule. And now let's try to enroll. And we'll see what happens here. Right. All of this failed because our enrollment start time has not yet started. But hopefully if it is your enrollment start time, that you will see the results that it'll say, this course has been added. You've been enrolled. So that was a really quick demo. Thanks, Ben. We'll mention the advanced search. Ben's hovering over it right now. So this is another way to filter for courses that could be good for your schedule. So you would want to select undergraduate programs. You can select, I just want to look at courses that are offered by the Faculty of Arts or the Faculty of Kinesiology. And you can also select courses that have no prerequisite. So if you're just looking for an open option and you don't want to worry about prerequisites, you can search for that. You can also select specific days that you want courses picked, and the period drop down will allow you to choose a variety of different types of courses. This is probably, you would want to stick with regular academic for now. And again, picking the different days of the week that you want to take courses in, and then clicking search. Yeah, let's pick arts. Perfect. Yeah, and so now it's going to come up with a whole list that meets that criteria. So these are all the courses offered at the undergraduate level from the Faculty of Arts with no prerequisite. And so there's a lot to look at. And you can then select the courses and start building a schedule with them. Great. Is there anything else that you want to add, Ben?
I think you covered schedule builder.
Great.
Looks great. Okay, now let me get back to, I'm going to stop share. We're going to get back to the presentation.
Great.
It's coming, it's coming. There we go. Okay. And I'm going to share my screen again. By up at the top. Leslie, how do I share my screen again?
The bottom green button.
Yeah, it disappeared for me. Leslie is the co-host. Are you able to share your screen?
Yeah, I can share.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Okay.
Yeah. Good.
Great. Does everyone see that?
No. Yes.
Perfect. Yeah. Yes? Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to mention, once you've created a schedule, sometimes students really, and you've enrolled in all your courses, sometimes students want to sort of download that schedule, add it to your calendar, whatever calendar you use, Outlook. So you can actually do that from your student center just by clicking that download calendar button once you've enrolled in courses. There's also a way to view your schedule by clicking that calendar view. And again, that's just an easy way to see what your schedule will look like in the fall and winter. Okay, so I'm going to move on to some website resources. And again, you'll get links to all of these after this presentation. But just wanted to note that on the registrar's website, there's some really great resources that are available, step-by-step guides on how to register and videos. You'll find those under the registration tab, how to register, and also under the student center tab. There's there's lots more there than just how to register. It's really around how to navigate your entire student center. So definitely check it out. And then, of course, the first year degree guide. So I know that's one of the big questions when it comes to registering for your first time, like what are the courses I should actually register in? So the first year degree guide, and again, you'll get a link to this guide, is really where you'll find that list of courses that you should look at registering in your first year. So all of the degrees and majors are listed here. So you just need to go and find your major and click on it. And what it'll do is it'll give you a outline of what you should take in the fall and winter semester. The example on the screen here is for an economics major. And you can see they've listed some required courses for the fall, like Econ 201 and Stats 213, and then some options as well. Options or math, and then they've outlined what students should look at taking for the winter semester. So it's a very handy resource, and that link to open options is a good one to remember, because there's a really good list of open options that you can kind of peruse and think about what course you want to take there. I also wanted to mention a really great resource called the Academic Calendar. I feel like this should be required reading for every student, although it's very dry. I will admit that. But it's basically the rule book for your degree. It's got all the rules and regulations that you'll need to follow as a student here at the University of Calgary. And it outlines your entire degree requirements. So if you're sort of wondering, what do I have to take for my entire degree, not just my first year? You can find that information in the calendar. There's also a list of all of the courses that we offer. And so it's a really great way to peruse courses and course descriptions. So you can look up your courses and think, I really do want to take that course in my second year. What do I need to take in my first year to have that prerequisite so I can take that course in my second year? So it's a really great way to sort of look at all the different courses that are offered out there, read about them, and see what's required in terms of prerequisites. So we've got a few tips, tricks, and FAQs as well that we wanted to share. So I noticed in the Slido, there are some students asking about full-time versus part-time status. And so this is a really important question for sure. It's one that we get all the time. And there are definitely some advantages to being a full-time student, but many programs allow students to take them part-time. Again, that's something that if you're considering doing part-time studies, you should definitely talk to your faculty advisor before you do that to ensure that it's actually okay for your program. But to be a full-time student in the fall and winter semester, that means that you're registered in at least 9 units or more. So that's typically 3 courses at 3 units each. So if you're in 3 unit courses in the fall and 3 unit courses in the winter, it means that in both those terms, you're full-time. In the spring and summer, excuse me, semesters, it's a little bit different. Those are condensed semesters, so they're not as long. And so taking 6 units, which is like 2 courses per term, is considered full-time. And then part-time studies, obviously for fall and winter, is if you've registered in less than 9 units per term, or you've registered in 1 or 2 courses each of those terms. And then for the spring and summer, it's 1 course. So that again is something that you should consider. A lot of students are asking, should I take 5 courses? What should I do? It is recommended that you do 5 courses in the fall and winter. However, some students really do want to do a lighter course load, and that typically is okay. Again, it depends on the program and the requirements for the program. But definitely talk to a faculty advisor if you're wondering whether to do less than 5. Just wanted to mention open options. We get lots of questions around what is an open option? What do I take? What do I pick? So open options are courses that you get to freely choose. Yes, they can be anything. It really allows you to explore interest areas outside of your chosen major or degree. So students are like, well, what should I choose? Choose something that you're interested in. Choose something that maybe you are thinking about wanting to add a major or minor on in the future. Like, hey, maybe I want to do a psych minor. Maybe try out a psych course in your first year to see as an open option. Only thing to remember is that open options do have restrictions on them. So you may not get first access to those courses. So just be aware of that. Excuse me. And as I mentioned, there's the huge list of open options that you can view in the first year degree guide. So that's going to give you the whole list of things that you could pick from. One last FAQ is just around clicking on the calendar icon in your enrolled courses. This is a really helpful, this is a really helpful icon. It will give you the course start and end dates, the drop deadline for each particular course, so you can find it really easily. And especially the drop deadlines and the withdrawal deadlines. Excuse me, I'm just cough for a second. Why always when you're presenting? All right, so Ben mentioned this really quick earlier around waitlists, but just wanted to mention that if you do get on a wait list, that's great. You want to keep watching to see if you're closer and closer to the front of the line. It's never a guarantee that you're going to get in a course if you are on a wait list, so it's always a good idea to have a backup plan. Wait lists do get purged. What that means is that students are removed from the wait list 24 hours before the drop deadline for the term. So basically, we allow you to hang out on the wait list for a very long time, but we do eventually say, you know what, it's almost the last day to add a course. And so we'll remove everybody, and then it's sort of first come, first serve. So just be aware of that when it comes to waitlists. Seeking out help. Lots of places that you can seek out help in your student center under the program and advising info tab. There's a advising help listed right there. So you just need to click on your program and you'll find the contacts for your advisors. And there's lots of ways that they can help you. And we definitely recommend visiting an advisor at least once a year throughout your degree. Schedule building, new student registration assistance. So if you need help sitting down and building a schedule in the Student Success Center, the new student registration assistants can help you do that. We can help you navigate the system. We can walk through the first year degree guide with you. We'd love to have you. The new student registration assistants are upper year students that are very trained and ready to support students as they navigate registration for the first time. And again, in the email after this workshop, you'll get a link to how to book with new student registration assistants. And I'll pass it over to Ben.
Wonderful. Thank you, Leslie. So my office, enrollment services, we are able to assist with the course troubleshooting. So if you're having troubles getting into course, you don't understand an error message that you're receiving, you can give us a phone call. You can book an appointment either in person or virtual. The link for our website and contact us will be given to you after the presentation as well. We will send you a list in something called a link tree, where you can either click on the link or you can scan the QR code, and it has a whole bunch of different resources available to you that Leslie has mentioned, as well as your faculty advising offices and enrollment services. You can utilize our main UCalgary webpage that has a chatbot feature, and it's called Talk with Professor Rex. So that goes to majority of the answers that you're going to need. Realistically speaking, if you just have a really quick question that you kind of have a nuance, you need nuance answer, ask the chatbot, see if it's able to provide that for you. If you don't have a chance to connect with us, but if you do have a chance, feel free to call us. Feel free to call or book an appointment at any time. Our business hours are in Mountain Standard Time, which is the time that we use here local to Calgary, 9 a.m. until 4 p.m., Monday to Friday. Next slide, please. So this QR code, as I just mentioned, is a link tree. So you can scan this QR code. It will take you to the website and list of resources available to you. Should you have any concerns with your course registration or your course planning, as Leslie mentioned, the new student registration assistance is a wonderful resource for you to use. They have lots of availability. Faculties and faculty advising offices are also another great opportunity. You need to be aware that faculty offices do have some limited appointment times throughout certain times of the week. And that's because they have other things that are going on, like checking for fourth year graduate applications, for example. So when in doubt, connect with your faculty office, connect with us, or connect with the Student Success Center, and you should be able to get all of your answers that you need. One important thing that I can't remember if it's on Linktree, but for all of our international students, if you have questions about your visa or how your studies, full-time or part-time, impact your student visa, I would encourage you to connect with our International Student Services Office. They are certified immigration specialists. They can provide you with the information that you need for your visa or study permit. Aside from that, they are a great resource if you have questions of what does it look like to live in Calgary? What resources are available to me as an international student? Is there a community of students in my particular faith group or particular culture? They have those resources and abilities as part of our wanting to make you feel as at home as possible. Okay, so that concludes the formal piece of our presentation.